Hello friends, welcome back to Aboderie, where I share our family's journey to a slow and handmade home. And today we are talking about cloth nappies once again. If you're in the UK like me, then you may know that there are certain shops that have started selling cloth nappies. Not many, but there are some. Sainsbury's have been selling Bambino Mio nappies now for a few years, and Boots recently started selling Tots nappies as well. Tots and Bambino Mio are two of the biggest cloth nappy brands out there. So people ask me often what I think about their nappies, and particularly their two flagship nappies. So today I'm going to compare the two all-in-ones from Bambino Mio and Tots, and also compare them to the rest of the cloth nappy market, so that you can work out whether these nappies are worth investing in for you, or whether you would be better off buying something else. So let's get started. Bambino Mio and Tots each make a whole range of different nappies. I've decided to just talk about the all-in-one nappies today because these are the ones that people ask me about the most, and I would say that they are particularly popular with new cloth users for reasons that I will come on to. So to start off with, it's worth explaining what an all-in-one nappy is. If you're unfamiliar with any of these cloth nappy terms, I would really encourage you to go and take a look at my blog. I have so many now articles all about cloth nappies, all the different acronyms, what the different kinds are. So I will leave some links down in the description box for you to go and read up more. But in essence, an all-in-one is a nappy where every part of the nappy is all in one piece, as the name would suggest. Here are the two nappies. This is the Bambino Mio Miosolo, and this is the Tots Easy Fit Star. An all-in-one is just a nappy that's all in one piece. As you can see, it looks a lot like a disposable nappy, and there are no parts that are detachable. There is an opening at the top, and inside the opening you can find a tongue. I forgot what it was called for a second. That is removed when you wash the nappy and then stuffed back in again when you come to use it. The Easy Fit looks very similar. Again, it's a Velcro closure with the opening and a tongue on the inside. Both of these nappies are birth to potty, and birth to potty just means that it's designed to last the child the majority of their time in nappies. In reality, birth to potty often don't fit the tiniest of newborn babies, but in general they will fit babies above 10 pounds all the way up to about 35 pounds, which is often beyond potty training for most children. You can see that both of these nappies have a row of poppers down the front, and that just allows you to close the front of the nappy to make it shorter or longer depending on how old your baby is. So that's the Tots one, and the Bambino Mio one has exactly the same down the front. So let's start with the advantages of these nappies. They are relatively affordable for all-in-one nappies. Now, I do say for all-in-one nappies because there are definitely cheaper nappies available out there. If you're looking for something low cost, then I would probably avoid an all-in-one altogether and go for something like a flat nappy or a pocket nappy. But if you're looking for an all-in-one and want an affordable one, then the Tots and Bambino Mio ones are a really good option. The Bambino Mio retails around the £16 mark and is almost always on sale in Sainsbury's. At least every time I walk up that baby aisle, it seems to be on offer, usually around like the £12-13 mark. So that makes it really affordable for an all-in-one. Tots is slightly more expensive, usually around the £18 mark, but it does have certain advantages over Bambino Mio, which I will come on to in a second. The second advantage that's worth mentioning is that they are easy to use. So they both have Velcro closures at the top, which is one of the easiest ways to get started with cloth nappies because they feel a lot like a disposable. You're not having to faff around with an extra row of poppers at the top. I think there are some things about these nappies that make them a little difficult to use. So in particular, neither of them is hugely absorbent. So if you have a baby that wets quite heavily, then I think you would actually find these quite hard to use because you would struggle a lot with leaks. Having said that, if you find that they work for you, then they're both really great options for childcare. Childcare settings are increasingly coming on board with using cloth nappies, but if you've got one that's a little bit wary or needs something as easy as possible, then both of these are great options because they're going to be really easy to get started with and aren't going to intimidate your childminder or nursery. Another advantage specifically for Tots is that they're made in the UK. Now, this isn't always as big of an advantage as people might think it is, because obviously the materials to make the nappy are still shipped from abroad. But if you're choosing between two very similar nappies, then the fact that Tots are made in the UK is obviously an advantage. One thing I did want to mention about these nappies is how they compare size-wise. So although they are both birth to potty, the Bambino Mio is one of the largest birth to potty nappies that I think exists on the market. It probably only fits from around 12 or possibly even 14 pounds because it's just so big. But at the other end of the scale, it will fit a large toddler really well, especially one that potty trains late. The Tots on the other hand is more of an average size birth to potty nappy, so I'd say it would be a really good middle ground if you're looking for something for a baby that's not super tiny or super large. So, disadvantages. As I said, I think one of the biggest disadvantages of these two nappies is their absorbency. The Bambino Mio nappy in particular is probably one of the less absorbent nappies out there. The absorbent core is made of microfiber, which is essentially just a form of plastic, it's just polyester. And microfiber isn't terrible, but it's definitely not the most absorbent fabric. So if you have a heavy wetting baby, then you may find that the Bambino Mio will need boosting with some sort of natural fiber like cotton or bamboo. Tots on the other hand are slightly more absorbent, but still not one of the more reliable nappies on the market. They are a microfiber core surrounded by bamboo. If you've got a lighter wetting baby though, then you might find that these are a real sweet spot, that they work really well, so it's definitely worth trying. I'm going to mention Velcro in the disadvantages as well. I did mention earlier on that Velcro is really good for childcare because it feels familiar. The downside of Velcro is that as toddlers get older, they love to undo it. Speaking from experience, this is not a fun situation. So I think it can be really handy to have popper nappies as toddlers get older, or else to get good at putting on the nappies backwards. I wouldn't necessarily write nappies off just because they have Velcro, but it's definitely something worth bearing in mind as your baby gets older. The other tiny thing to mention with the Tots nappies is that they have what are called rolled elastics. So the elastics are seamless, which makes them really gentle on your baby's legs, but also means that if they are not sitting correctly against your baby's leg, then they can have a tendency to leak, particularly if your baby is a bit of a heavy wetter. So, do I think you should buy these nappies? Well, it depends. And I know that's a slightly frustrating answer, but I do strongly believe that there is no one-size-fits-all nappy, that different things will work for different people. And if you're looking for something that is very straightforward to use, that is going to be unintimidating for childcare and will suit a light wetting baby, then I think both of these could be a really good place to start. What I would say is that if you don't fit that category and you've just picked up one of these from the supermarket, please don't be put off by the idea of cloth nappies. I've heard people say, oh, I tried a Bambino Mio once and it just didn't work, so I think reusable nappies are not for me. And that definitely doesn't have to be the case. I suppose an analogy would be to think of if you bought Pampers, disposable nappies, and they didn't work, you wouldn't write off disposable nappies, you would just try a different brand. And so I would encourage you definitely to do that if you have already tried one of these nappies and struggled with them. They aren't the most absorbent out there, and if you have a heavy wetting baby, there are definitely options that will work better for you. So if that's you and you've tried one of these and you're not sure what might work better, I have a few options. Let's get into it. So if you struggled with the absorbency of these two nappies, but you want something that's similarly easy to use, then I would try a close pop-in. Technically not an all-in-one nappy, but pretty much works like one. You can get either popper or Velcro closure, and they go on almost exactly like a disposable nappy. This piece detaches from the middle, and they're also birth to potty, so they've got the row of poppers down the front. Price-wise, these are similar to Tots, so around the £18 mark. Slightly more expensive than Bambino Mio, but still definitely sort of the lower end of average. So I think these are a great option if you're looking for something more reliable, similarly easy to use, and not too expensive. If you're looking for something that is a similar price point to Bambino Mio, so the lower end of the price range, then I would try something like Tots or La Petite Ours. La Petite Ours is even cheaper, I think, than the Bambino Mio ones, and it's also much more absorbent. This is an excellent nappy for the price, I think, and I would probably say, unless you are desperate for a Velcro nappy, to go for this one. The only other downside of this is that it is slightly slow drying. The Bambino Mio nappy dries incredibly quickly for an all-in-one, because it's microfiber, whereas this is quite slow. So that's the downside that you're gonna have to work out. The Tots nappy is Velcro, so if you were looking for something easy to use for childcare, then this would be another great option. It's probably similar level of absorbency to Tots, but is slightly cheaper. So you're getting a Tots absorbency at Bambino Mio price. So I do think that this probably works out better value. This is also a much smaller nappy than Bambino Mio, so if you're finding that your Mio nappies are too big or not fitting well, but you like the idea of them, then this could be a really good alternative. I think that's everything. I really hope that's been helpful. If you are still unsure about either of these nappies or want more information on my own experiences and the experience of those that I help start with cloth nappies, then you can always drop me a DM over on Instagram. I will leave some information on how to find that here. Remember, you can also head over to my blog or my cloth nappy playlist here on YouTube, which I will link up here, so that you can find out more about cloth nappy use and how to get started. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye!